Hello, it is me.
And then there's me. And then I do the thing where I turn the. We are no longer having technical difficulties. Everything is
We're
working.
working.
Everything is wonderful.
I love when everything is working.
Me too.
It sparks
Okay.
joy.
Okay. So, um, hopefully, we will hear if the audio is okay in a second. But
Hopefully, chat will let us know.
I brought the books
I
for the
see.
Bookstream.
They look so nice on their little cart.
No echoes. Everything's good.
I don't hear any echoes, but
I
I
don't.
don't know
I
if
mean,
you're
I hear
talking
an
to me.
echo because I'm in an empty room.
That's fair.
Hello. Yes, but is there an echo? I have help.
Smart.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No
Emily and
echo.
I
Awesome.
sat an audio troubleshot yesterday for like
Yes,
an hour. So
it
if
was,
this didn't work, we were going to be really mad.
but it worked. Everything is good. Okay.
Yay!
Um. So yeah, you don't have to keep watching because I don't think you care about YA books, but I care about YA books, and Jessie cares
I
about
care
YA
very much
books.
about YA books. They're great.
So today we're doing back to school, except we want to be fancy when we go back to school. So it's books set in like specialty schools. Except I don't think we have any schools of magic on here.
Overlooked that. No,
Eh.
there's the vampire. Hex Hall is a magic school.
Hex
We have
Hall
Hex
is a
Hall on
magic
there.
school. Okay.
Yes, that's a
Cool.
magic school.
Cool. So we have all of the different types of special schools.
They're all represented.
Everything is represented. Where would you like to begin?
Okay, I just finished reading the Truly Devious series recently, so let's start there. This book is by Maureen Johnson, who is great. It's a mystery series, and it's a mystery series, which is wild because usually when you read mysteries, they all are contained in one book. But this one, there's 3 books, all the same mystery, so it's like a really complicated mystery. There's some murders that happened in the 1920s that our protagonist is trying to solve, and then there's some more contemporary murders that also happen, and those have to get solved. So you're going back and forth between the 1920s and the present, and there's this great spunky detective character at the center of it called Stevie, and she's great, and it's a really well done portrayal of having an anxiety disorder
Yep.
also, which is not necessarily what you go to a great mystery book for, but it's a great mystery book and a great depiction of mental illness. And I really enjoyed the series. There's a standalone that goes with it now, and there's going to be additional standalones in the future. So, if you like this first one, oh, and it's at a boarding school. I didn't think I said that. I feel like that's why I picked it, is because it's at this special school that's for kids who are like gifted and talented in some way, and so
Except not in the usual way, because
yeah,
you have to have a passion that you're really good at, and then like you submit an application based on your passion. So you don't have to be traditionally smart, which was one of the things that I really liked about it.
mm-hmm.
It also means that Stevie meets some very colorful characters, which is the
Yeah, like her
best.
friends are like she's there to try to solve these old murders, right? And like
Yeah.
her friends, one of them is like he wrote a novel at the age of 16, like he's Christopher Paolini essentially because it's a fantasy novel. And so he's there to work on his novels, and like one girl is a really talented inventor, and so she's inventing stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a lot of the secondary characters are really fun also.
Yes. And the fun thing about this was that it was a murder mystery, but it didn't feel dark and depressing. It was like cheerful.
True. Yeah, like there's like it handles the death very seriously in a
Mm-hmm.
way that a lot of mysteries I feel like kind of, not that they like gloss over it, but it's kind of, you don't really see the grief and
Yeah,
the like
that's
very real human impact of it.
and
And I feel like
that's
these
done
books
really well
handle that,
here.
but without being really dark.
Yeah.
So, Truly Devious, great series, highly recommend.
Yep. Um. Okay. Let's keep going with the mystery thriller. That was just a
Ooh,
mystery,
yes.
but Ace of Spades just came in, um, and it it came out a while ago, but the copy we bought, this copy right here that I'm holding in my hands, that is available for you to check out right now, um, it was back ordered on Baker and Taylor, so we didn't get it right when I thought we should, which was immediately. So I read
Because it's
this.
so great that everyone ordered it and now it's back ordered.
Yes, I read it as a review copy. So some things might have changed, which is always exciting when you are talking about a book. Um, but when I read it, and I'm sure this is still the same, it was about two black students at an all white private prep school that was very, very fancy in, oh no, I don't remember where it takes place. In a place. It takes place in a place.
A place.
And one of them is wealthy, and the other one is there on scholarship, and it delves into these sorts of things like what is it like to fit in but not fit in, or to not fit in for different reasons or anything, because one of their friends is also a scholarship student, but he's white, so how is his experience different? Except also, they're both being targeted by a creepy person who like wears a ski mask and is spilling their secrets all over the school
Ah.
in order to like ruin their reputations and potentially cause actual physical harm.
So they got to solve the mystery of that.
Yes.
Sounds so intense.
It is, and it was really well done in that, like, as the mystery builds up, they think that it's each other because they are both targeted with things that like nobody should know. And then once they get more and more into it, they start losing trust in everybody, including each other. And if you like Get Out, you will like this book, which I liked Get Out.
Yes.
It's always hard when the ending is like the coolest part and I want to talk about it, but I can't because
Right,
it's a
but you're
spoiler.
like, spoilers, no.
But somebody, like, if you read this book, you need to come talk to me about it and we'll talk about the ending. Okay? Okay, good. Yay.
I like it. That's solid.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cat visitor. I don't know if you noticed.
Cat
but
visitor.
Reggie is on my desk and he thinks it's time to pay attention to Reggie, which unfortunately it is not. It is time to talk about books, which is a great time.
Yes.
But not if you're Reggie. Because he can't read. Okay, I nominate Hex Hall for our next book because we already talked about it,
Yep.
and also it's right next to Truly Devious.
Yes.
So this one is fun because it's a magic school, but it's a school for like a variety of. There's like witches and wizards, but there's also like fairies and shapeshifters and like all kinds of different
Fun.
people from different walks of magic life. Our main character ends up there because she has a magical dad and a normal mom, the opposite of Seamus from Harry Potter. That's an old meme. Anyway.
One thing we are good at on this stream is old memes.
Referencing old memes. That used to be very funny for a while, that Seamus line. Anyway, so she is being raised by her non-magic mom, and she gets into some trouble at her school prom for doing magic in front of normal people.
I
And
mean,
so her
yeah, you want
parents
to
are
avoid
like,
that.
yeah, can't be doing that. We're sending you to this school full of like not just like magic people, but like kind of wayward magic people. It's sort of like she gets sent there as like a punishment for being like
Yes.
a bad witch. They're like, here's where the people go who can't behave themselves.
This book
So
sounds
she
very
gets
funny, and I
there
want to read
and
it.
like right away she like makes some enemies and has a crush on a guy and like is immediately embroiled in the drama. But like even more dramatic than any of that is that someone is attacking the students.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and they think that it's the main what's the main girl's name? I think it's Sophie.
yes.
Sophie's like one friend uh is like the main suspect that people think did it, and she's like, no, it's not my friend. But she has to like go and prove that. So there's the fantasy element, there's the mystery element, there's the high school drama element. It's all in there. So I don't know. I found that a really fun read if you're looking for something a little on the light side. Um, I really enjoyed that one. There's a cat on the cover too, so how mad can you be about that, right?
Yeah. It's a little black kitty cat.
And it's
Kitty cat,
also
kitty
Rachel Hawkins is the same person who wrote um the Her Royal Highness and that series that we always recommend on
cat.
here.
Oh, the
Yeah,
royalty one. The
the
Prince
royalty one,
Charming one.
Royals and Her Royal Highness. I have Goodreads pulled up here. I put her name in. And yeah, she writes those also. So read some Rachel Hawkins if you
Yeah.
need some good books to go
She's
with.
very funny. You know what? We could have brought Her Royal Highness for this because it does take place in
Oh,
a
that's true.
fancy
That was
boarding
also in
school.
a fancy boarding school. We've managed to fit that into at least 2 book talks now.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 because we talked about it for queer books. We
Uh huh.
talked about it. What other theme did we do? Not for sci-fi because it's not sci-fi, but we talked about it here. I don't know. It's great.
Yeah,
Read
it
it.
is. And the main thing is that the main character in that one goes overseas to boarding school. And
Yes.
so does the girl in Anna and the French Kiss. I did such a good
Excellent
segue there.
transition. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you.
I'm wonderful. Um,
Sorry, I
so,
didn't know if you were going to talk about it or I was.
well, see, the thing is, I haven't read it in a while. I remember that it was very romantic, and Anna is very relatable in that she makes decisions that are perhaps not good, that could hurt other people's feelings in the
Yes.
pursuit of this boy that she likes. And I remember that she likes old movies, and that is all I remember. So,
Well, so she goes to boarding school in Paris. That's the
yes,
premise. That's why it's called Anna and the French Kiss, and she meets a boy.
as one does at boarding school in Paris.
Yes, and she's in love with boy, but boy has a girlfriend, so conflict.
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 Ow,
But
pain.
yeah, takes place in. I mean, how upset can you be about a book that takes place in Paris? You can. Books in Paris are great. Actual Paris is great. Um, it's a romance. It's another in the category of like light and fun mysteries.
Yes.
Um,
But
Not
there's
mysteries.
there's
Light
no
and fun
mystery.
books. I was looking at Study in Charlotte and thinking, do I want to do that one next, or do I want to do one that doesn't have mystery? And then I just said mystery when I meant romance.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
I remember that this one was very cute, and if you like, I don't want to say squeeing, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Didn't say squeeing.
This is
I'm cool with
probably
it.
a good choice because it does have a happy ending. And that's really what you want when you are
Yep.
reading a rom-com. It's also very funny. I remember that too. Okay. Did you want to do?
Let's do Study in Charlotte.
Yay!
Let's do that one. 'Cause I was
I know
staring
nothing
at it
about this one except
and
for
thinking about it.
it's Sherlock Holmes something.
It
right?
is.
Because,
It's
yeah,
a modern take on Sherlock Holmes. So this one also takes place, I want to say, at a boarding school. Let's see.
it's
A
either a boarding
Connecticut prep
school or a
school
fancy
per
school.
Goodreads. It's a fancy school. And our protagonist is Jamie Watson, who is obviously based on Watson from the books.
Yep.
And he runs into this. Sherlock Holmes is a girl in this one, which I think is cool. Um, her name is Charlotte, and she's like a brilliant detective, but she's like 16 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she and Jamie don't immediately get along. They're like, I don't know about you, but like they're still kind of drawn to each other. It's kind of cute. The first one is like establishing their like Holmes Watson relationship with one another, and the title is a pun on the first Sherlock Holmes novel, which is A
Yes.
Study in Scarlet. Um, so I love that it's got that punny name. I'm trying to remember what the main mystery is. Mm,
Let's do the on the
I
fly.
think I'm pretty sure it's a murder mystery. I'm pretty sure someone dies and they have to solve it, and that's kind of how they
Yes.
bond with each other. Yeah,
Oh,
is they're
so
both solving the
um,
mystery.
the mystery is based on a famous Sherlock Holmes story. Because
Oh,
Sherlock
well,
Holmes
duh.
exists in this universe. Charlotte is his
Okay.
granddaughter, great 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 granddaughter or
Yes,
something. Yeah,
that's right. She's yes, his
cool.
descendant. And so, yes, the real murder resembles one from the stories, and so they're like, "What's going on here? Why is it like this?"
As one says when one is about to solve a mystery.
As one says, one asks many questions. So, boarding school murder mysteries.
Yep,
You want them, we've got them.
we do.
We've got this one, and we've got Truly Devious,
Hmm.
and we've got Ace of Spades. So come read some murder mystery. There's not a
Yeah,
murder in that one, is there? I don't remember. You just talked about it, and I already forgot.
yeah. See, this is one of those things where even if there was, I wouldn't tell you because it would be a spoiler.
Okay, well, don't tell me if there's a murder or not. We have to read the book and find out.
Yep. Okay. So I want to talk about the Mary Shelley Club
Let's.
because first of all, the cover is really cool, but also I just really love Goldie Moldavsky. She wrote a
Okay.
book called Kill the Boy Band
Oh,
that
yeah.
was like this group of girls accidentally kidnaps the worst member of their favorite boy band. And then they have to figure out what to do. And it's hilarious, but also has a lot of heart. This one is not funny, which I was kind of surprised by because her other book was funny. However, I guess there are funny moments in this one. But she references her other books in this book, which if you are like
That's
me
funny.
and like that sort of thing, they all take place in the same universe, which it
Love that.
tickles me. So the Mary Shelley Club is not a boarding school, but it is a fancy school, fancy prep school. And the main girl who has a name, Rachel, her name is Rachel.
You're doing great. Like, what are
She
the characters called? Is there a murder? Who knows?
she has just transferred to this school after experiencing a very traumatic event in which there was a home invasion and the person who broke in tried to kill her. And so she had to fight for her life, and I can't remember when it's revealed what happened, so I'm not going to say, but like a bad thing happens and she develops, I would say, pretty severe post-traumatic stress disorder. So one of the things she does is she watches horror movies to try to do exposure therapy on herself by exposing herself to her triggers. You should not do this. This is a bad idea. But it's a great premise for a book because it turns out then she just starts loving horror a lot. And so when she goes to a party at her new school because her only friend is like, you have to go to a party. And her mom is like, you have to go to a party. And she is at this party and somebody starts telling a ghost story. And then they all go upstairs to where the ghosts are supposed to be. And then the most popular girl is targeted by the ghosts, except it turns out that Rachel sees somebody slipping a recorder into his pocket. I think the story was like there were bees in the walls or something, and so he tricked her into thinking that there were bees in her hair. Oh. And so then the lights come back on and there are no bees, and so she's now a laughingstock. And Rachel is like, I see you, I see what you did. So she starts following him around and discovers something called the Mary Shelley Club that this kid is a part of with some other kids who maybe don't fit in and maybe do. But all are obsessed with horror movies. And it is a secret club. They are not allowed to tell anybody about it. You are supposed to be like initiated or something, but she just kind of finds out about it, so I guess she's a member now. And the thing that they do in the Mary Shelley Club is they have something called fear tests that everybody has to do, which is you pick one person and you can assign your fellow club members tasks to do during the fear test, but the point of the test is to make your subject scream.
Oh.
And see, I think this sounds like fun, but they go really malicious with it.
I can see how that would happen.
Yep. So she is part of her first fear test, and it's wonderful, and she loves it, and so everybody's planning it. And meanwhile, she is having worsening hallucinations and like flashbacks and stuff because she thinks she sees the guy who broke into her house like following her around, but she can't because okay, I said I wasn't gonna, I didn't know if it can't be a spoiler. He's dead. She killed him. That's the thing. And he was wearing a mask. So, like, she sees people wearing the hoodie and the mask following her around. And then she starts to think that maybe it's real and that maybe somebody is coming after her and that maybe the Mary Shelley Club has something to do with it. So I thought that it was a really, really great portrayal of trauma, including the doing something you should absolutely 100% not do because, like, I don't know, sometimes you feel self-destructive and sometimes it works for you, maybe. But usually it doesn't. And nobody ever treats her trauma like it wasn't real or didn't matter because, like, she didn't die or get seriously injured or anything. And it was good. It was really good. I really liked it.
But now, man, that sounds delightful.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not delightful, but it sounds
no,
like
it was delightful.
Okay, I can't tell if you have I tell you I love you, but then I have to kill you on
I
that
do.
card or not.
I do. I brought all of the books.
Great. Brought all the books. Okay, I just couldn't see the spine of it very
well.
Yeah,
because it's a small spine.
It's a small. Okay, so this series was one of my favorites when I first read it, and I haven't read them in a while, but they're so good. So the premise of these is that the main character is at spy school.
Mm-hmm.
So she's learning how to like speak a bunch of languages and how to kill a man and like all types of cool spy stuff. Um, the conflict in this, so like part of the just the coolness of this book is the school that she's in.
Yeah.
Like imagine being in spy school instead of normal school. So much cooler. But then, so the conflict comes in when she meets just like a normal boy, and she's like, "Oh, I'm into this boy," but she can't tell him that she goes to top secret spy school.
Uh-huh.
So she's trying to figure out like her first relationship at the same time as she's figuring out like, can I even date this person while I'm in this? I think it's an all girls spy school
It's
too,
an
if I remember
all-girls spy
correctly.
school. And I believe she meets him while she's on a spy mission. So she has
That's
to
amazing.
come up with a cover story on the fly and then stick with it.
Oh my gosh, that's delightful. So it's got that whole like, I don't know. I always love when characters like have a double life going on and
Yep,
they have
same.
to juggle that. I always think that's really interesting. It can be really funny at times. And I mean, it's a book about a spy school. How can you not be excited? I'm excited. I want to read it again. But there's a whole series, so if you like the first one, there's a whole bunch more.
There are a lot more, yes.
Yeah. I
Um,
I read all the ones that were out when I was like 14 or whatever age I was when I read those. I don't remember.
yeah, no, this was a very fun book. Just very entertaining. It was a fast read. So if you like fast
Yes.
reads, this is a good one. And we have another spy book here that I have
Yes.
not read. But I
Okay,
like the back of the
so
book.
yes, it has a great cover. It has a great premise. It's also about a spy school, but this one is like historical. So it's not a contemporary spy school. It's, I don't know. I don't remember if it has an exact setting or if it's just like ye olde times.
On the back it says steampunk.
Steampunk. There you go. It's steampunk times. Um, whatever time that is, I'm not quite sure. I think it's the beginning of the 19th century.
Yes.
So the protagonist is like a spunky young woman in an era that does not appreciate spunky young women. And so her mother's like, we must send you away to finishing school. But what she doesn't realize is that the finishing school that she has sent her daughter away to is, in fact, a school of spycraft.
So it's an accidental spy school.
It is. And so they do learn like stuff that you learn at finishing school. Like they do needlepoint and dance and stuff, but they also do, spying classes.
The
Which
back
is
of the
kind of
book.
brilliant if you think about it, because in
Yes.
like ye olde times, people were like, women aren't, they can't possibly be doing anything important. Like they're just easily overlooked young ladies, but that makes them perfect to like go in a room and spy on
Yes.
somebody. So this book covers, I think, the first year that she's at the school, like what would be your freshman year if it were modern times. I don't know what they call it then. Um, and then there's more in the series. It continues.
Yes.
So yeah, that's another. If I love you, if I had blah, it's such a hard
I
title
tell
to
you
say.
I love you, but then I'd have to kill you. See, I'm reading it and I still messed it up, so.
Yeah, it's a long name. But if you liked that one, read this one. If you liked this one, read that one because they've got similar premises, similar fun heroines, and again, it's just a fun book to read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have problems, and those
Yeah.
problems are called I know I have read books on this cart, but I can't remember them well because
Well, we
I
can
am
tag
not
team
good
them.
at that. So, let's see.
Trying to see which ones we haven't talked about yet.
We haven't talked about Dread Nation, Looking for Alaska, People Like Us, Vampire Academy, Dead Queens Club, and then I also have They Wish They Were Us and An Education in Ruin, which I haven't read either of them, I don't think.
Okay.
But but they're on the new shelf, so I wanted to be like, hey, here are more fancy school books.
And to school books.
Except
Okay.
I might check both of them out, so I can't read them.
Let's talk Looking for Alaska. I feel like
Looking
we
for
can't talk
Alaska.
YA boarding school books without talking Looking for Alaska.
Truly, we cannot.
Yeah. So this one is by John Green. It's his very first novel. So if
Mm-hmm.
you've read anything else by John Green and enjoyed it, highly recommend this one.
Yes.
There's a Hulu series, I think, that goes with this. We read this in my YA class in college, and I kind of rediscovered it from when I read it the first time as an actual teenager. So the premise of this one is that the main character goes to boarding school.
Yes.
There's a theme. Obviously, I mean, that's very explicitly the theme. That's not like a secret theme. So he goes to boarding school. He is kind of an oddball, but he makes friends with some other kind of oddballs, including this girl, Alaska, who he's desperately in love with,
Desperately.
but who has a boyfriend and is not necessarily interested in him. The whole thing, when you start reading, it's the way it denotes time is like 200 days before, 208 days before, whatever. And so as you read the first half of the book, it all leads up to this one particular event, which I won't tell you what it is because spoilers.
Yeah.
But then the second half is all about what happens after this event. And it's really compellingly written. It's got great characters. It's very, like, I hate to say relatable, but it is very relatable for teenagers. Like, it's very like, this is what high school is like. Even though it's kind of an unusual high school and some unusual kids, like, they do stuff like stay up until 2 in the morning, like singing karaoke and like discussing their secrets and
yes.
in like a barn.
Yes.
And they play a bunch of pranks on the dean or whoever it is, because it's funny.
That is indeed why you play pranks on your school dean.
Exactly. So yeah, I really enjoy that one. I think it's a classic for a reason. Is
yes.
it old enough to be a classic? I don't know. I think it is, but it's a good one, and it's in a boarding school.
So I can't remember. Does the second half start with many, many, many days after, and then go like backwards chronologically?
Right. No, it goes the other way because it goes to like 1 day after, 3 days after,
okay.
etc. Yeah, so it counts down and then it counts up.
Okay. One of the things this book gets called out for a lot is like starting the manic pixie dream girl trope in YA fiction, which
is not accurate.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's actually one of the things that is really beautiful about the book, is that like that's the way the character sees her, and that's why he's in love with her. And then he has to learn like that everybody is also a real person and he is not the only real person, which is something that you learn when you are a teen. I remember being in the thick of it.
Yeah, I always find that criticism a little like, did you actually read this book?
Yeah. Or did they read it like closely?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe you read it but not super reading comprehensionly, which is fine, but anyway, this book is also on a lot of banned book lists, so
yes.
if that doesn't compel you to read it, I don't know what will.
Oh yes, no.
Things that get challenged or banned. Because I'm like, those are usually the best ones.
Yeah. That is why I read it. I just looked to see when it was published because of the classic thing, and I didn't pay attention, so now I have to look again. 2005 is the copyright date.
I think it was 2005 or 2006 because...
Yeah. But in the summary, like the inside the book Library of Congress summary, they have the big spoiler.
Well, come, Library of Congress. You can't just tell people what happened.
No.
Otherwise,
No.
they're not gonna read them.
So, yeah, don't read that if you're gonna read it without having read it before, because you really don't want the spoiler for that one. Even though
You
I kind
really
of feel
don't.
like it's. Did you have to read a separate piece for high school?
No.
Okay. So that's a book that does take place in a boarding school, and it's an old book. And I had to read it for high school, and it's a really, really, like, it's old. I don't know if we have a copy. And the only thing anybody ever knew about it before they sat down and read it for school was Finney dies. And you like don't
Excuse
even
me.
know who Finney is until I don't remember, but like that's the big climax. But that's
Oh
the
my God.
thing that people told each other, so everybody knew it. I actually enjoyed it anyway. Spoiler didn't kill that one. Something did kill Finney though.
Something killed Finney. Oh man, that's the worst. You can't just say. It's like, okay, slight tangent, but my mom told me that when The Sixth Sense was like originally being released in theaters, they included in the trailer the clip where he says, "I see dead people," and she's like, "So then, what's the point of going to see the movie? Because you already." I think she didn't go see it in theaters because she was like, "I already know what happens."
A pro tip for people who haven't seen it: that is not the point of the movie.
I haven't seen it. I will admit that. I just know that he sees dead people.
Have you? Do you know the big twist ending?
Oh,
It's a really good movie.
there's a cat on my screen. Hello, cat.
Cat.
I can't tell which cat that is. It's Reggie.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend The Sixth Sense.
I'm gonna have to watch that now. I feel a fool for not having seen it.
If I think it is on the list of things that I am allowed to show for Fright Night Fridays in October.
Okay.
So
Watch it then.
yeah, I think I might be streaming it, and everybody can watch it with me. And I will not allow spoilers because it's so good if you don't know it. And I think enough time has passed now that it's one of those where you might not know again. It went from everybody knows back to people who haven't seen it don't know.
Did you read Dread Nation? I did not read Dread Nation, but it's high on my list.
I did read Dread Nation. Okay, so we're going to talk about Dread Nation and not The Sixth Sense.
Yes.
Although
It's a zombie Civil War book, yes?
Yes, so she does see dead people, in fact. So the thing in Dread Nation is that it takes place post-Civil War. The only reason it is post-Civil War and not during Civil War is because the zombies started in the Civil War, and it's really hard to have big battles over slavery when people are nomming on each other's brains. So they were like, okay, we're going to pick this back up after the zombie problem is resolved. But since they wanted all of their best fighters to, not fight zombies and not become zombies, they created these special boarding schools for... I can't remember if it's freed slaves or like... I don't remember. I'm going to have to look.
Goodreads says the Native and Negro Re-Education Act requires certain children to attend combat schools to learn how to put down the dead.
So basically it's children of color.
Yeah.
And they get
because racism.
Because racism. Because Civil War.
Because Civil War.
And they're like, you don't matter. You can go be zombie food. So they train these kids to be these deadly zombie killing machines at these fancy boarding schools that are not actually fancy because they don't actually care about them. But they want them to be healthy so they can fight zombies and then die and not be healthy anymore because now they're zombies. And I believe they are taking the girls to a play, perhaps, And I see a cat in the background.
Reggie, he's
Reggie.
wandering
Reggie.
around.
So they take the girls to a play, I think, and something happens at the play, and I might be thinking of a different book. There is a chance, because this says families around Baltimore County begin to go missing. So I have no idea what happens in this book, apparently.
Well, there's only one way to find out. You
Yes,
have to read the book.
Have to read the book.
You'll have to tell us what happened in it.
Because I don't remember. All I know is that the main character, Jane, ends up having to like strike out on her own, but not actually on her own, because she has to go with the most annoying girl from her zombie killing school for a reason that I don't remember.
Hey, when I have to hang out with the most annoying girl at my zombie killing school.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
The worst.
Okay, I think I figured out what happened to Her Royal Highness. It's not on the cart because it was checked out.
Okay, that's a good...
It's on my list of books to pull that I have in front of me right here.
Okay.
I think also the Raven Boys was checked out, but I don't care. We're going to talk about the Raven
Boys. Okay. I am down to talk about the Raven Boys always. That one is kind of interesting for the purposes of our discussion because it doesn't really take place inside a boarding school. Just the boys in the title go to a boarding school.
Whose mascot is the Raven, which is why they're called the Raven Boys.
Yeah. And so it follows Blue, who can see ghosts.
So she is the only one in her family who normally can't see ghosts.
Can't, okay.
Everyone else in her family can, but she sees a ghost of one of the Raven Boys, and her family members, who are all like magic psychic people. They're all women, like magic psychic women. It's like the coolest family. I'm like, I want to be in that family.
Same.
So they tell her that the fact that she saw this boy means that he's either her true love or she's going to be responsible for his death. That's usually what that means when you can see someone's ghost.
Or both, right? I thought there was
both. So
thing.
Blue was prophesied when she was born that she would be responsible for the death of her true love. So presumably it's
that's where
both
the both
of
came
those
in.
Things.
Yeah.
So she goes and meets this guy and his friends, and they're really into magic. They're like, we're gonna hunt down ley lines and channel mysterious magical energy and stuff, and they're kind of like rich, spoiled boys who choose to like do paranormal investigations with their time instead of like shenanigans. So she starts hanging out with them, and then her mom is like not super pleased about that. But it's a very atmospheric type of book. You can really sink into like the language, and there was something I read back in college in my creative writing program that talked about certain styles of writing are like wading into a lake as opposed to doing like laps. And I'm like, I feel like that's this book. You sort of wade into this world of magic and prep school and, you know, everything that's going on, dramatic prophecies, and everybody has trauma. And, you know, there's talking forests and all kinds of things.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And so I feel like you kind of just, you wade in and then you just chill. Maggie Stiefvater, who is the author, also wrote Shiver, which is a great paranormal romance if you like Twilight and things like that. She's just a really great lyrical writer, and I also highly recommend the audiobooks for the Raven Boy series. I've only listened to the first one. I haven't read any of the, there's like 5 in the series, I think, but our boss in the children's department like loves the audiobooks, and she's not usually an audiobook person. So if you are an audiobook person, I highly recommend the audiobook for this one.
Okay. Harry Potter is a boarding school book. Did you just leave, Jessie? Jessie? Come back, Jessie. Oh no. And no, I have not read that book. Hold on one moment, please.
Hi.
She is
So
back.
do you know
Okay.
do you know what I just did? I went to go. I didn't have I didn't have chat open. I could tell you were responding to chat.
Yes.
So I tried to click on chat and I accidentally clicked the exit button on Discord. So I just hung up on you like a jerk. Anyway,
Okay. So I do not like. Okay. So yes. We had a chat, and we are talking about books that are set in boarding schools and fancy prep schools, and we are mostly done with our cart. I think we still have People Like Us, Vampire Academy.
Vampire Academy, which I have not in fact read Vampire Academy.
Neither
but
have
Lieutenant said
I.
it sounds great. Obviously, it is an academy of vampires, and if you are a vampire book reader, read that one and let me know how it is, because I
Yes.
have not read that one. But I pulled it because I felt we needed more supernatural boarding school representation on our cart. So.
Yeah. So the thing that I know about that book is that we had a copy of the first one that was really, really beat up because it was extremely popular a few years ago, and is skateboarding schools. That would be an amazing school.
That would be amazing.
An amazing school and an amazing book. Now I'm kind of jealous of all of the people who might be able to attend a skateboarding school in fiction.
That sounds great.
So there was one person who was like, okay, but like, what happened to the rest of the series? And this was in the middle of the pandemic when we couldn't get things from other libraries. So I bought the whole series because, like, obviously I'm going to do that. And I don't know how popular the rest of them have been, but hey, Vampire Academy. Yep. You can read the whole series because we have it.
Read the whole series from our library now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Dead, what's that called?
Dead Queens Club?
That's based on the Wives of Henry VIII, right?
Yes, it is. Okay, so this isn't a boarding school. But it is a it's still fancy because it's based on Henry VIII and the court of Henry VIII. So the thing is that it's from the point of view of the only girlfriend he had who he had an amicable breakup with. And unfortunately, we cannot start over. We only have 8 minutes left in our work time to do this. But it will be up on our YouTube channel as well as here for like rewind and watch the whole thing. Yep. Yes, we are librarians. We work for a library. And so we are talking about books as part of the library to get people to come to the library and check them out.
Books, yeah.
Oh. And the girlfriends, like, bad things keep happening to them. And they're trying to figure out who is responsible, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 2 of the girls die. And so he's like, I mean, I would pick books over Zelda, which Didn't take me much time.
That's
I do love
fair. I would
Zelda,
also,
but
I mean, it's a
books.
hard choice, but books.
And it is indeed a real library. Um, I am sitting in it right now. So you know Henry VIII better than I do.
Yes, I can tell you exactly which queens are.
Okay,
I'm
please
like,
do,
I know
because
which
I
one.
can't remember
I
names.
guarantee you, Jane Seymour is the one he had an amicable breakup with because in real life they got along the best, and she just died in childbirth.
I think it's Anne of Cleves.
Oh no, maybe it is Anne of Cleves. That would make sense. Because they broke up and she just like lived in a nice castle the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Jane Seymour died in childbirth. He beheaded two of them, which were Anne Boleyn and Catherine. Not Catherine Parr, the other Catherine. Catherine Howard. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of the musical Six, which is all about the wives of Henry VIII. So I want to read that one, and I want to read the Candace Fleming one. That's the
Fatal
that's
Throne.
also
Fatal
yes,
Throne.
Fatal Throne.
Yeah, because real good. But that one doesn't
Candace
have anything
Fleming
to
is
do
a
with
very
schools.
good historical fiction and also nonfiction author. She writes, I don't know, she does like really good research. If you like, she's got
She
a nonfiction
does.
on Anastasia that I read for class.
She also writes for a
Anastasia's
wide
fascinating.
variety of ages, so
Yes.
you
So
don't have
check
to
out
like
Candace
YA for
Fleming.
her. The thing about this one is that it is a very funny high school retelling of the Henry VIII story. You do kind of already know the ending going in because it's based on real things that happened, but I'm still not going to say it because it's treated kind of like a murder mystery.
Love that.
And it's very, very fun to go along with the Anne of Cleves character, whose name is Cleves.
Love that.
I do not believe in censoring books. I do not believe in banning books.
We're opposed to
I
that.
believe in presenting books with content that is bigoted in any way, with the context surrounding the bigotry. But yes, I think you should be able to read whatever you want. Including other, like, bad... I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. I'm holding a book.
It's okay.
Did I
Do we
talk
have
about
any
the
more
book?
books on our card, or did we talk about all the books on our card? People Like Us is another like murder mystery thriller type one
it is.
that's in boarding school, I believe.
Yes, and I think one of the main girl has a secret that nobody can find out, and she's also attempting to solve the mystery of her friend's death, I think. Or maybe she witnessed her friend's... Let's see. No, a girl's body is found in a lake, and she has left Kay, who is the main character, a scavenger hunt to solve. That may reveal why she was in the...
Scavenger hunt from beyond the grave.
Yes. And at first they think that she killed herself because, like, just went into the lake to drown herself like Virginia Woolf. But as Kay goes through the scavenger hunt, she figures out that no, it was definitely a murder. And because the police are able to do things like forensics and stuff, they can also figure out that it is a murder. And before long, Kay ends up being the main suspect, maybe because of the scavenger hunt, but also maybe not. Maybe because she did something. You'll have to read to find out. I believe she also gets emails from the dead girl's email address.
Spooky.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think that is all of the books on our cart. We will be back tomorrow night for a movie about sushi, right?
Yes, we're going to watch a movie about an 80-year-old sushi master.
Yes.
It's a documentary. I'm very excited to watch it.
It's very wholesome.
Yes.
And then on Sunday, we have Self-Care Sunday.
No, Self-Care Sunday was last week.
Self-Care Sunday was last week. I did not remember. And so we do not have Self-Care Sunday this week because it was last week.
Yep. But you can watch last week's video here on our Twitch channel.
Yes. And once I export it to YouTube, you could also watch it there. I think that is about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, sushi movie tomorrow. I believe that it is that one because he is a master and he deserves $300 for a plate of raw fish. He's also a very wholesome old man, so we're going to watch the documentary. It's going to be good. Okay, I am going to end the stream now.